Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Safely to the Moon. This is episode 1. It's actually episode 4. Hayden and I have filmed a few episodes. We released the intro video on social media the other day, and it was met with mixed results. It's kind of funny how each social media platform has its own personality. Instagram and YouTube, everyone was saying, this sounds awesome. I'm excited to hear the stories. Twitter, everyone was saying, you guys should be in jail too. So we figured we'd take a step back, and we kind of wanted to set the stage and really explain why we're doing this podcast, explain what happened, address some of the initial questions, concerns, accusations. I'm going to let Hayden dive into it. Before he does, one thing that I just wanted to get off my chest, because this was the most annoying. We got a lot of questions where people said, why didn't you tell the police? And so I want to be very clear, like we said in the intro video, we did not see any fraud or proof of fraud firsthand. We saw a lot of red flags. 90% of what this podcast is stories about business incompetence. Okay, you can't call the cops because, hey, my CEO is making questionable hires. You can't call the cops because, well, actually, we did call the cops when someone broke into the office and they said they couldn't do anything.
I sat there for hours. And nothing happened.
Yeah, but we're not going to call the cops because, hey, our CFO doesn't know how we make revenue. It's just 90% of this is business incompetence. We want to tell people. We feel like people deserve to know this is what happened at SafeMoon. The reason we couldn't talk about it was because the guy sued his own mother. What's going to stop him from suing us, even though all we're telling is true stories? The other 10% is we saw evidences of and red flags of actual fraud, but we never had definite proof. We were both shocked when the court docs came out and we saw exactly what happened. But things like we mentioned insider trading. We have a pretty good idea because an executive at SafeMoon mentioned something that led us to find a wallet address that we are 90% sure was his that was trading tokens on the swap. But we had no proof that it was him. We didn't KYC the wallet. It was just a comment that he made that led us to believe all the evidence pointed that way. The blockchain evidence that was already on Twitter and in CoffeeZilla's video, and we had been told in confidence there was already an investigation going on. So that was just one thing I wanted to say. We didn't know anything that the authorities didn't know or didn't need to know. Besides, we just knew it was a terribly run company, and we saw lots of evidences and red flags.
Yeah. I think the other thing we have to establish is this is not an attack on the SafeMoon community. This isn't an attack on John. Sure, we will bring up things that are calling them out and saying, what is going on? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? So on and so forth. But at the end of the day, this is more of a podcast to talk about, obviously, the incompetence, but the potential that could have been. Right?
Yeah. And we want to make sure it doesn't happen again.
No, we don't.
And John's not going to be in jail forever, and he shouldn't, but he should never be in charge of a company ever again.
No.
And you'll see why.
Right. And yeah, that's the main thing that I want to get out there is this isn't an attack on the SafeMoon Army. I know tons of people, obviously, because I was part of the employee group, but I know a ton of people that got hurt from this financially, emotionally, I don't know, physically maybe, but I've never heard of it. But yeah, tons of people were affected from this. And we're not here to be like, shame on you, because even shame on us. Like, sure, we probably could have done more, but to your point, if we did more, what could have happened? Like, I literally called the cops at one point and was sitting in an office for close to 3.5 hours texting you and saying, holy shiz, what's going on? Just to find out that the police couldn't do anything anyways because he was let in. So,
yeah.
I think we need to also establish that the timeline of what we're talking about.
Yes.
Everything we're talking about is in the business realm of when it started. So when SafeMoon or SafeMoon LLC was created in Utah to when you left and when I left and to even just this day when it was liquidated or to present when it was liquidated, right? That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about, like, we'll mention John, Kyle, Thomas, and things that happen there because this is a fact. They're in court. They're doing this. There's going to be rulings. We're going to be bringing that up. But we had nothing. We were no part of that. We didn't know they were touching the LP. We didn't know what was going on. Sure, I know there's people, specifically Sam, who mentioned, oh, there was definite evidence of messing with the LP and taking from funds and everything else. Yeah, sure, I guess, but evidence is not proof. Like, there's not actual fact, right? So you can
we didn't
continue to say
know,
that.
and the two of us knew, like, we found out from Twitter. We
Yeah.
found out from those Twitter threads that TNG made. We found out from the CoffeeZilla video.
Right.
It's not like we were withholding evidence. Like, we had no idea.
Right.
And it wasn't until we start to see these things, eventually we both left.
Yeah,
But-
and people are saying complicit, but I think it's also incompetence to an extent on our end. Of me saying, I really like my job. I really love this community. I really love being in the DeFi and Web3 space and doing what I'm doing here. Maybe just turn a blind eye? No, I don't think so. It's just more ignorance on my end of just trying to do my job and continue to do my job and not have any distractions. I was trying to bring
Yeah.
as many partners as I could. Same with you.
Yeah, and it was hard too because we had SafeMoon actually had real lawyers.
Yeah.
Cool guys. We liked them, and for the most part, I respected them. And
Yeah.
and we had so many questions, and a lot of times the answer was just we can't comment on that.
It was always
or-
we can't comment on
pretty
that.
much every time.
Yeah.
But SafeMoon did so much in terms of legal stuff to make sure we
Yeah.
were safe. It was actually kind of annoying.
So and very annoying.
And so SafeMoon was trying so hard to be compliant
Yeah.
that it was easy for us to see, like, hey, they're trying here. I
Right.
guess they have it under control.
Right.
We don't have answers, but
And yeah, and kind of just back to that timeline thing. We have to understand, even before we knew all this stuff happened, like, the business was an actual business that was getting revenue from the swap, from us selling those marketing deals, and from our things. And so when people, can I bring up a tweet?
yeah, go
Yeah.
for it.
I think the main one that, I shouldn't say it bugged me. These things can bug you or get to your head, but like the main one that I wanted to bring up was Randolph. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And how he's like, two salesmen who suckered in other companies to pay big bucks for nothing. Everyone is clear after the event. Clearly you knew what was going on, so insider trading. Okay. He just knows, he knows somehow. Golfing
Armchair
off the
lawyer.
back of investors' money. It's a Dumb and Dumber 3 making a podcast. So just to clarify, Randolph, sorry. Clearly, insider trading, for one, Jonas and I were the only ones in that company that brought up doing that blackout period.
Mm-hmm.
If we were going to bring on someone, I said, hey, we at least, the people that begin that conversation in my sales department, once we have that conversation, you are currently in the blacklist. You cannot invest. You cannot do anything for an extended period of time. And that period of time was then ran through our lawyers, was ran through our VP of operations, and they said it was a 6-month period. Once you start to finish, you can't invest until after that 6 months. Once they got listed on our swap, the employees were then put on a 3-month probation or a 3-month black period. After 3 months, they could then invest.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there were stories. People didn't do that, so on and so forth. But I can honestly say every time, and I made Jonas and my other employees more or less promise to me, but also I think a couple even showed me. I don't know if you ever did, but showed me their wallets and nothing. And I showed them mine. So the other one is golfing off the investors' money. How poorly this company was run was Hayden was funding everything that came into our
There were no company credit cards.
No company credit cards. So Hayden, that's me, was paying off of my credit card recurring interest every purchase. Every time we went to Topgolf was about $700 bucks. Pay for drinks, food, golf, so on and so forth. So I was paying for that.
And let me just say that whole thing, like, once again, we were trying to, a lot of DeFi is sketchy. There's undoxed teams. Part of our process, what we did is we did KYC, we did KYB. You had to have a business entity. We had to know who you are.
You had to be a business. You couldn't be on our swap unless you were a business.
You had to have a registered LLC or corporation. And one of the things that we loved doing as part of the culture that we were building was, hey, when we sign a deal, when we have a partnership, come to Utah, come see headquarters. Let's go to Top Golf. Let's hang out with you. So it was more of a culture thing, a relationship instead of just a transaction. And people loved it. It was fun.
It was fun. People came in. It gave them an experience to come just meet the team, to also just be put out in front of the community and really get to show who they actually were.
Yeah, it's funny that, Randolph is dogging on it now because people like him were saying, this is awesome.
This is awesome.
They
would talk
seeing
about
pictures
golf.
of handshakes.
Yeah.
Real people, real projects, not just
Right.
shady developers hiding behind a profile picture.
Exactly.
Whether or not these projects panned out, however you define panned out, or if there was an ROI on your investment, like they were real people trying to do real things. We did everything we could to make sure there was a legitimate business, legitimate people.
Yeah, we even went as far as to try and pay for their flights and stuff to come in, their hotels, but that was shot down very quickly from our executive team. That's how far I wanted to get these people into our office, was even paying, even when they flew from Abu Dhabi or Dubai, like Australia, I wanted to get them in, but that got shut down quick.
Yeah. So this is probably a good time for us to talk about a little bit more on that. What did we do at SafeMoon? What was our business process?
Yeah.
Because we've mentioned this in episodes that will come out later.
Yeah.
But Hayden and I talked about this all the time. We were our own business. We felt like there was SafeMoon, and then there was the sales department in our room in the office. We were usually the only people in the entire office.
Right. So that big office that they paid upwards of $20,000 a month for literally housed you and me for an extended period of time. I would say close to like 7 months.
And we consciously picked the room that was furthest away from the executive team.
Right. So usually the people that came in during our time there was Wormtongue, John, and Sketch.
Mm-hmm.
This was after Ryan and them all left. So literally it was those two. But when John was overseas or was out, it would usually just be you and me and Sketch. But Sketch was back in his office doing what he needed to do. So it was just us three. That office could have probably fit 50 people, but it was fitting 3 on a continuous basis until we hired more sales guys. But yeah, so what we did, we were our own business. We were our own sales department. We went out and we looked for projects to join our SafeMoon swap. We had a bunch in the beginning that wanted to join, and we had to vet them. They went through an application process. It was a weird application process, but at that time, I don't think anybody knew how to really build out an application and make sure all the buttons or all the boxes were checked off, right? So you'd see like anti-slavery questions and
we had anti-slavery, anti-money laundering.
Anti-money laundering.
The process was actually pretty intense.
It was intense.
And we even complained about it because there were so many questions, so many hoops to jump through.
Yeah.
And, so it's funny now I see people complaining about the quality of projects we brought on. First of all, I mean, like, let's call it what it is. SafeMoon was a meme coin.
Yeah.
Trying to build utility, but a meme coin. We're not going to attract Ethereum, or Polygon. Like, we're not going to attract the big players.
If we brought them on, we just had to add liquidity.
We'd have to pay for that.
We'd have to pay for that.
And so we attracted coins, tokens, projects
In
similar
DeFi.
to us.
Yeah.
And we did everything we could to vet them. And that was the pool that we were working with.
Yeah. There's like, if you look at the creditor list, I think I told you this. If you look at the creditor list, there's like 4 or 5 in there that are on there because they went through the KYC process and got denied.
Yeah, which
is
hilarious.
And it's weird. They're looking to get, I don't know if they're going to get any money, but there's some on there I was like, they didn't get on the swap. They didn't get on the swap. They didn't get on the swap. They didn't even pay us anything.
We had to say no to we turned down so much money.
Yeah, we just
had to say no.
We brought on 25 projects, or I think a little bit more, and we probably denied over 100 and 150 projects.
Yeah.
And those projects ranged from our price range that we got, like, there could have been millions and millions of dollars that could have been made off of that if we would have said, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But we were always thinking about, 1, the community, 2, the safety of SafeMoon, and 3, just making sure that we, as sales executives, were we weren't doing the wrong thing. Because these guys think we're complicit, but we sat there worried just as much as anyone about getting in trouble because it was such a black and like hazy like market. We didn't know what to do. We didn't know what was right or wrong. I think no one did.
We always erred on the side of caution.
Always.
And
if even when you didn't want to, I was like, pump your brakes. Jonas, pump
100%.
them, dude.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
So, and the other thing that I want to make clear is what we did, we had nothing to do with SafeMoon, the cryptocurrency.
No.
We were dealing with an app. It was software. So we were
Correct.
selling listings to be on our decentralized exchange, to be listed on the app on the wallet,
Which included marketing. Which we built the marketing packages, by the way.
Yes.
The
And
marketing team didn't.
we were very clear with projects, because obviously people think, oh, if you get listed on SafeMoon, your price is going to pump. We were very clear when we were listing them, say, hey, like what we're selling is exposure.
Yeah.
SafeMoon has an incredibly strong community
Yeah.
of like-minded people that love cryptocurrency DeFi.
Right.
We will bring their eyes to your project. We're not going to promise or imply anything about price action or whatever, or even followers. We said if they like you, they'll probably follow you. You'll get some followers. But that's what we sold. It was exposure. It was top of funnel.
Right. And I think that's a big thing that bugged me about John's Discord comment when he's like, you're not investors or something like that, right? Because in reality, the community was SafeMoon, right? So when he said that, it really bugged me. And I was like...
Bugged a lot of people.
Obviously. And it bugged a lot of people and so on and so forth. But especially as a sales director talking about, hey, we have the best community. And then someone comes out, our CEO comes out and says, you're not investors. You're not part of this company. It's like, sure, you're not physically part of it. You're not contractually part of it, but they're part of it more than you are.
Yeah.
To an extent. Now they are.
Yeah. So that's what we did at SafeMoon. We didn't tell anyone to buy the SafeMoon token. We didn't do anything like that. All we dealt with was listings, marketing packages, us getting listed on other exchanges, which was very hard for reasons that we'll dive into in future episodes, partnerships, and then trying to sell future products that never came out. And that was just kind of the story at SafeMoon. These grand visions, these DeFi products, software services that were supposed to come out never did, that we had to build pipelines for and couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So that's what we did at SafeMoon. That was our job. Why we started this podcast. And I will say, for all the people that are upset on Twitter, we got a lot of positive comments and even texts from people saying, hey, thanks so much for doing this. I'm proud of you guys for telling the truth. Because that's really, I will say that is the main motivation, is I think people deserve to know. If I, like me looking at it, if I weren't a SafeMoon employee and I lost money in SafeMoon just as a trader, me, how I am, I would like to know. Even though it's water under the bridge, I still, hey, what happened there? Why did this go wrong?
Right.
How can we see the warning signs for future projects earlier? And Evergrow Sam, he said, hey, I think it's in bad taste because people lost money and suffered. It's like, we get that. We're not trying to make light of that.
Right.
Like, we understand more than anyone.
Yeah.
And so why shouldn't we tell the truth? Why wouldn't people deserve to know, hey, this is what happened at SafeMoon?
Right. And this is also an example, like Evergrow Sam. I really do like Evergrow Sam. And the way that they are running their company is much better than what SafeMoon was. Right. And I think because of the stories we're telling, there can be changes if needed, or there can be, improvements for them. And I'm not saying that Evergrow needs to change their business model or how they run their business, but just knowing, like, bringing the right people, bringing people that understand crypto, bringing people that understand DeFi, bringing people that are business savvy, bringing people that have done things in the real world, right? And that's even like going to the Vitria side of things, like I know and have talked to them and know that they have successful businesses outside of crypto because they understand how to run it. And so it's like, look at that and find these people that aren't just DeFi PFPs on Twitter and pushing a token, and you're like, this could go to the moon. Like, yeah, sure, Pepe did. Now where's Pepe? Right? I think Doge and SHIB are the ones that are holding strong because they were originals. They were one of the firsts, right?
Yeah.
But 100% agree with you. Like, we need to tell the story, one, for us, I think, because at the same time, we may not have suffered financially or emotionally as much as the community did, but we also had to sit through a year and 6 months, a year and 9 months of just torture for people that didn't know what they were doing, And it was just so blatantly obvious that they were in the ear of John and really destructing something that could have been really good. So
Yeah, I mean, hindsight's 2020, but we probably both wish we had left sooner than we did.
Yeah.
And if there had been stories like this made public, if I was listening to this podcast when I was working at SafeMoon, I'd be able to say, oh, hey, this has happened before. These are
from
the warning
actual
signs.
people that were in SafeMoon.
Yeah.
Right? Like even Ryan tried to, but at the same time, Ryan knew, like he was in a lawsuit at one time.
Yeah.
And did John help him? No. So imagine if you start talking and John sues him, he's got no help on that end from a financial standpoint to even pay for lawyers, go through that legal process, so on and so forth. So it's like, why would we put having families, us two, why would we put ourselves in that situation?
Yeah, exactly. So that's really the main reason why we did this.
Yeah.
People deserve to know. And as I've been talking to former coworkers of ours that are coming on, what people are saying is, hey, thank goodness you guys are doing this. People need to hear. Also, a lot of our former coworkers are saying, hey, I want to clear mine now. I want to make it clear. This is what I did at SafeMoon. This is what happened.
Yeah.
Because the majority of us had no idea.
Had no idea.
Once again, people are acting like, oh, you've held on to this information and now you're coming out. Like, we have nothing that will change anything in court. We have no info.
Because it's not part of that timeline.
Yeah.
Again.
And that once again, it shocked us. I remember we figured that, because obviously there were red flags, we assumed there was something shady going on. And so me guessing, I'm like, if John ever does go to jail, he'll probably a year or two, I don't know, a little fine. Right. So when we read the court documents, we were texting each other like, holy crap, how did all this happen? And once again, most of it happened before we were even there.
Right.
Just these things take a long time, and he was already under investigation. And so we don't have any info that was necessary or that will change anything.
Right.
We just have like real stories of incompetence. And once again, like, we don't want to make light of it, but why not, have some fun? Like, don't you want to hear how I was told to knock doors to sell a cybersecurity product that didn't exist? Like, it's a crazy story. It's fun. Like,
in a building where
why not laugh about it?
Where we have Aroma. It's an aroma company.
Yeah.
Where we have like e-commerce companies and all, like, I get it. Like, and this is we can talk about that another day. But yes, it was just poorly run, poorly managed, and they just thought they could do anything. And that's on both timelines. Let's just say that. Thought they could do anything. Thought they were so business savvy that they could just knock doors for something that was being created. Let's say it existed to an extent.
Yes.
It was being created, it was being built, but at the same time, if you go sell it and say, hey, you want to test our product? Could they test it? Not at that time.
Yeah.
I think a couple months later, they finally put it on the wallet. So you couldn't even sell it or show it.
Yeah, exactly. The framework of this podcast too, honestly, is I kept a list on my phone. I just called them SafeMoon stories when I started working there. Anytime something crazy would happen. And I'd tell friends, like, dude, you want to hear what happened at work? And so I started keeping a list, and people would tell me, like, man, you got to write a book. Like, that'd be such a fun book to read. So much bad happened from SafeMoon, but that was one thing I always said. I'm like, at least I had entertaining stories to tell from my time working there. Like, that's one of the silver linings.
Right.
And so why not share that with the world? There's so much bad that came from it. It's over. It's water under the bridge. Let's learn from it, and let's also have a laugh, because once again, you wouldn't believe. Like, it's crazy what happened.
Right. And we also have to understand that the people that work there that didn't do anything, this is on their resume. I'm sure they want to be like, just so you know, I was actually working my ass off. I was. You and I, and my sales department, I know we were working our asses off to try and build up that swap. Try and get ready for the exchange that was supposed to come out. The NFT marketplace that was supposed to come out. The freaking orbital shield that was supposed to come out. We were working our asses off. The point of sale that was supposed to come out.
Yeah.
We were working our asses off to try and build up a network and sell a vision that we believed would be able to happen. Now talk about all the other employees that were actually under contract. Like, now they go to another Web3 company, and the first thing that Web3 company is going to see is, oh, you worked at SafeMoon? Didn't John just get... You know what I mean? Like, this is, as much as it is affecting the community, this is also affecting people that believed in something that could be and could have been great.
Yeah.
To where now they have like they're probably not going to put it on their resume, even though they spent a year or 2 years or 3 years of their life trying to build it.
Yeah, because I've had people ask me,
Yeah.
with good intentions, hey, why do you still have that on your LinkedIn or on your resume?
Yeah.
And my answer is like, why not? I didn't do anything wrong. If
Yeah.
anything, it shows I'm a great worker, because if I can get this much done at that terrible of a company, imagine what I can do for a real company.
Right. Right.
We did good work.
We did great work.
We did the best that we could with what we had.
Right.
We were the only shining light in that company, the only source of revenue outside of a few T-shirts. Which,
in the swap, but
yeah, and so I'm not ashamed. Like,
I'm not ashamed either, and I think you're 100% right.
And when
what a
we did,
dysfunctional company, and we were able to bring in so much revenue.
yeah, and when we did find out, or not even find out, when we did had the inklings and we saw the flags, we left, and I'm glad that we did when we did. Maybe I probably should have left earlier. But we did everything we could to make that a legit business.
Definitely. If I wasn't so focused on just doing my job and trying to make sure that we get more people to benefit the community from the swap standpoint and the exchange standpoint, probably would have left earlier. I even stayed longer than Jonas because I had a team.
Mm-hmm.
I had just hired 4 new guys after you left, and I was managing those guys. And imagine me just leave these guys in the dust. They have no idea to an extent, the in-depth side of crypto or blockchain or all these other things. I was literally teaching them and back and forth. But finally, there was that last straw where I was like, I'm not moving to Miami. And I left.
Yeah.
Because it didn't make sense. And there was just so many things that were going in weird directions.
And one other point that people have gotten upset about, at different times, the prices that we charged for listings or marketing were leaked. Yeah. And people like Randolph now are saying, oh, you charge too much. Like, we had repeat customers. We had clients that would come back and upgrade to a bigger marketing package.
Yeah. Why? Not because it didn't work. If it didn't work, they wouldn't have repeated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there was some projects that it just didn't hit or didn't work. Maybe and I'm not blaming us. I'm not blaming them. I should say not us. I'm not blaming SafeMoon. I'm not blaming them, but maybe the utility wasn't great. Maybe it was just a repeat type of utility. Maybe it just wasn't a great, team, things like that, right? But I've talked to multiple owners of projects that we brought on, and the amount they paid exceeded, the marketing and the exposure and what they brought in from a community standpoint exceeded their expectations, and some of them came back.
Yeah, and we did a great job at managing expectations. Like I mentioned before, we never told anyone, hey, your price is going to increase. You're going to get more followers. We said, we have a huge community. We will give you exposure. We will take the horse to water. You got to make it drink. Basically is what we said.
Yeah.
And the community loved some of these projects, like Grove. They grabbed a hold of that and blew it up.
Right.
Some of the other ones didn't really go anywhere.
Right.
And we did our job. We listed them. We gave them marketing.
Yeah.
It's not up to us if people bought it or followed them or whatever metrics you track.
Right.
And
even when it wasn't working like they hoped, we tried our best to find other alternatives and solutions for them to get exactly what they paid for and what they wanted. And maybe there are some things on there like being on the exchange. That was one of the things we said, hey, once that exchange comes out, this specific package will allow you to be a direct link to that exchange.
Yeah. And that's one thing, like, to be clear, I feel terrible about.
Yeah.
We were sold the lie that the exchange was right around the corner.
We were sold the lie on the exchange, the NFT marketplace, point of sale.
Yeah. And so we sold people, and that was part of it. Hey, when the exchange does come out, you will be listed on it.
Yeah.
Which we believed it was coming out. Yeah. We were sent screenshots.
Constantly. Literally every other month was a screenshot of the exchange. I was like, this looks great. This looks amazing. When is it coming? We saw
demos.
Yeah.
We talked to people that were in charge of the
literal transactions, and people in the community saw those transactions as well.
Yeah. And I get it was white labeled and we didn't build it in house, but it was still would have been. And we were led on to believe that it was coming out. So I definitely feel bad about that.
Yeah, sure. I do too. But at the same time, we're not devs. We're not pushing it. It was hard to really get a complete answer on that.
Yeah. So maybe now we should go through some of the comments, concerns, questions. We've addressed some of them.
Yeah.
SafeMoon Aussie says, why didn't you speak up when you worked there? You just took our money and now you are feeding off the SafeMoon army. I think you both a pretty low individuals. Good sentence there.
All right, mate.
At John Croni's Twitter account is a more honorable man than both of you. So we've addressed some of this already. Again, there's nothing to speak up about. Like, we didn't have anything that would put John behind bars.
No.
Like, what do you want us to say? Hey, here's some questionable hires. Hey, here's some questionable financial decisions of the company.
Sorry I talked to John about people being incompetent in our company and he didn't do anything. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
nothing. And even if we did say that just to warn people, we would have been sued to the ends of the earth from John. So nothing we could do.
As much as people saw a digital character in John, as much as, and once again, this isn't talking as the community say shit on John. Like, why are you talking shit on someone like that? It's more like, hey, John was a friend. I really appreciated John and him trying to take SafeMoon in a different direction than it was before. And I think of him as a friend. Like, I was literally going to meet with him the day he got picked up on the tarmac from the FBI. He texted me, hey, I'm flying in. Let's meet up for lunch. Even after I left.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But yeah, there's nothing you can really talk about in that regard, because half these people that are talking were not in that office with us three and didn't see what happened every day. Yeah. They just assume they have that Area 32 chat, and they have, these private chats with themselves, right? Where they're like talking about things they think are going to happen or know or hear through the grapevine. But at the end of the day, they didn't have to experience it. And, like I said, John's a friend, and you think he's more honorable than this? Sure. But he's also in New York right now.
Yeah. And to the people that don't like that we're doing this or what we're saying, you don't have to listen.
You don't have to listen. It's okay.
You don't have to. And
this is more of a therapy session as well for us.
Honestly. And even if you want to listen, there's no paywall we're hiding behind or anything. And we don't need or want the attention. We talked about this forever until we actually started it. And neither of us, we knew that there would be negative backlash from people.
Yeah. Literally, Jonas brought this up to me 5 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
We only started recording like a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
Like, I just didn't want to get into it. You didn't really know the implications of your NDA or my NDA. Literally, we talked to lawyers.
Yep.
To see, like, and that was even after John got arrested and the company just started to become nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once it got liquidated, or once they filed for bankruptcy, that's when we took action.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't want to deal with that.
Yeah. And again, it's not like we benefit from this. This is us saying, hey, maybe we have a moral responsibility to tell the world what happened.
Yeah.
And we can bring some smiles while we're at it because we have fun stories.
I'll read this one. This one's good. This is from JP Said It at Stage Driver J. Shout out. Anybody think to hire these two better think twice. They will stab you in the back for clicks. I hope John sues you after he's proven not guilty. And then he goes on to say, also, nothing goes away on the web. These videos will be there for the rest of your lives. And, hey, I still see that you have your SafeMoon profile picture. Like, once again, I don't want to attack these people because I really appreciated them and really am fond of the community. I am. And so when people say things like this, it's like, do you know how many times we got stabbed in the back while we were working for SafeMoon?
You're about to find out.
You're about to find out. Like, yeah. Like, this isn't stabbing anybody in the back. Like, this is saying this is what happened. This is true fact. Like, I can pull 17 knives out of my back from working at SafeMoon if you want to really talk about stabbing in the back. And not just from SafeMoon employees, SafeMoon influencers, SafeMoon community members.
Oh, yeah.
People that we had as projects on the swap. Like those projects. We've had some people stab us in the back in that regard.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I've been stabbed so many times. I can't believe I'm still alive. So it's fine. Like, sure. And if John sues us when he gets out, I doubt he will. Like, I don't even want to talk about his trial yet, but that's going to be a long shot.
Yeah, I mean, once again, and again, we've talked to lawyers, and we're not speculating on anything. We're not everything that we're saying. This is just true stories. What happened to us while we worked there?
Correct.
Nothing that we say has anything to do with or will affect the court proceedings. Which I don't even know if there's a date for that. I don't know what's going on there.
I haven't seen anything. I haven't really caught up. I see a couple people post like the liquidation just went through. I think I saw it on Twitter, but I haven't seen really anything about John.
Yeah, so I don't know, but I mean JP, if we can get JP to take the SafeMoon logo out of his profile picture, that's a win for me. I just want him to see, hey, maybe this company that I still somehow am a fan of wasn't a great company. It's gone now, but
but JP, that's his resume, dude. Just leave it. Put it on your banner. But just at least change the PFP.
And I mean, the fact nothing goes away on the web, these videos will be there for the rest of your lives. I'm glad,
we should go look through his tweets because nothing leaves the web unless he deletes it.
I mean, I want this to always be a record forever that, hey, I will always tell the truth.
Yeah.
I will share what, I believe in what's right. And if I feel like people have a moral responsibility to tell something or to hear something, like that's me, I'm just going to say it.
Yeah.
So I hope the truth stays around, and I
too.
hope this persuades people that are doing something similar to what John did to not.
Yeah.
Truth always comes out. K Dizzle at Kendall Stansel. These the same people. These the same people that showed their faces with SafeMoon and smiled right at you and told you how great it was. LOL. I wouldn't have taken the job with SafeMoon if I didn't think it was great.
Right.
We were all conned.
Once again, this is what we talked about before. Potential.
Yeah,
it had potential. There was a great community behind it. There was great vision.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't get behind it and say, let's build this together?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? I bet you Kate Dizzle, if she got a job offer in front of her to work for SafeMoon back in 2021, she would have said
Heck
yes.
Yeah. I mean, Kate Dizzle, we're not that different. And not even us. John got CEO of the year from Utah Business.
Yes.
They were also conned. Plenty of successful business people here and outside of Utah were fans or involved with SafeMoon.
Yeah.
We thought it was great.
Came to Utah and was like, and people that were interested in crypto and interested in blockchain and all that technology were ecstatic. Well, to an extent, right? There were people that obviously had their reservations, but people were ecstatic to have something, a Web3 company there was a couple already, but in Utah Valley, Pleasant Grove, where they could tangibly open a door and say, hey, a Web3 company in Utah.
Yeah,
like,
a household name.
Household name.
One other thing that bugs me is, again, people are acting like we knew the entire time. If you go look back at my tweets, I won't delete this. This was about a year ago. I had probably a little less than a year ago. I had left SafeMoon. I had a few months out.
Yeah.
Maybe you remember. I posted a huge thread. In that thread, because I had said the day before, hey, let me know if you want to hear my thoughts on SafeMoon.
I remember that.
And a lot of people.
I said, oh boy.
Yeah, you said, oh boy. Because you're like, here it comes. A lot of people said, sure, Jonas, you worked for SafeMoon. I want to hear your thoughts on SafeMoon. In that thread, I said SafeMoon is not a scam and it's not a rug pull.
Yeah.
That is what I believed. I knew that John was a terrible CEO. I knew that there was some weird stuff going on.
Yeah.
But I firmly believed that they were trying everything, and maybe they were at the same time while he was taking money, still trying to make a legitimate business.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was a scam. Didn't think it was a rug pull. So I was shocked when, once again, the court docs came out. I'm like, holy crap, I was wrong,
Yeah.
But again, there's gray area there.
Yeah.
I still believe that John was trying to make it a legit business, but he just thought it was okay for him to use the LP money.
Sure.
I don't think that I don't think SafeMoon was built to be a vehicle to launder money.
No.
I think the opportunity presented itself and they jumped on it.
Yeah, and once again, we have to establish the business was an actual business with operating capital from products that they built. Sure, John, as far as we know, used LP, but I don't know where that was placed, where it was put, right? And so, sure, probably the LP, and this is me saying I have no idea, maybe the LP did build these products, but those products that were built had revenue coming in. And imagine the swap at its peak, the 3% transaction that was going through. They were making upwards of 25 to 50 million in weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, if you really think about that, like, it was a legit business and whatever.
Yeah.
Next is our boy Rocky.
Rocky. Hey, this is like clockwork. I love Rocky, Randolph, and Felix. Those three are my favorite because anytime I tweet anything to this day,
Yeah.
they're gonna come on and it's an open dialogue. I don't block people. I don't delete comments.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, Jonas loves the clockwork. I'm more of I respect these guys from a standpoint of what they did for the community and trying to build up SafeMoon, right? So I'll never really attack them, but I'll definitely like question things like this. Didn't witness fraud, Rocky says. Proceeds to tell us of at least 5 instances of fraud. So I went through the 8 or 10 instances that we talked about, and I counted like 3, maybe 2. One was $8 million hack, which is fraud, but in some type of crime, but that wasn't we weren't part of that. That was somebody else taking our money.
and we didn't know anything more than what everyone else knew.
Right.
So
Right.
like we asked questions, didn't get answers.
Right. And the other one was the Gambia, stealing the Jeep. We weren't there. We just heard about from the stories of John out of John's mouth. Dude, you won't believe what we just went through.
Yeah.
What are you talking? And this is us sitting in our office and John walking in after his excursion from the Gambia, talking about that whole situation.
And
So,
the way that John framed it was actually his property. I know there was some great.
Yeah.
But what are we supposed to do? Call the cops? Hey, my boss just told me a story about a Jeep they drove across borders and it might have had the title. Like, we had no idea. We just heard this story.
We just heard the story that they almost got killed on their way home.
And he probably just had a glass of wine before he told us because every time he drinks, he gets in those moods. I don't know what's true or what's not. He just tells us things,
Right.
you know? Like, what are we supposed to do with that information?
Yeah, and there was like maybe 1 or 2 other instances that you could deem as, well, the insider trading was the other one. Yeah. We had set up a parameter between our sales department. You're not doing shit.
Mm-hmm.
Other people wanted to set those parameters and then did the insider trading.
And again, we couldn't prove anything.
Couldn't prove anything.
Like, he made a comment that led us to find a wallet that was probably his.
And I couldn't
That's
say,
all we-
show me your wallet, show me your OX, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
How do
show
we-
it to me. No. So,
And that, to be clear, that was brought up internally, and one of the reasons why this employee was later fired.
yeah, I literally ripped into John, and it led into the other conversation of him and Kate,
Mhm.
right? I don't know. Probably shouldn't say her name. But it led to that conversation. So, and then eventually, so yeah, we did do something to get some shiz off of our chest and also to get these guys out of the company just to be replaced by somebody else that did the same thing or is just as bad.
Now that you mention it, because I'd almost forgotten, that was one of the reasons why we held on, because we believed that this executive.
This one person, if he was to be able to be pushed out,
we talked about this a lot.
We did.
We could do good things here.
we
in
could
this
do great
company.
things if we just get that wall out of our way.
Mhm.
And seeing that what he did was like, finally, there's something. And the other thing, right, the dating, right? Like, once we tell John, get him out of here, then we can just be like, all right, let's finally start moving forward and advancing this company.
Yeah.
Just to find out, it took another 2 months to get him pushed out, and he had to get pushed out because I can tell that story later.
Yeah, that's a good story.
But yeah, so then Rocky says, so are you too complicit, looking for clout, farming your next career, all the above? Rocky.
None of the
Rocky. So none of the above. Not complicit. Clout. We can talk about clout, Rocky. How many tweets do you send out a month
Yeah.
in regards to what, And it looks like you switched your name to XRP, Sol, and ICP. It used to be SafeMoon. So it's like, who's really looking for clout?
Once again, we didn't even want the attention.
Mm.
If I wanted attention, I have a YouTube channel with my wife. We do videos on Instagram. They get hundreds of thousands of views of me doing funny things. Like, I have plenty of other ways to get attention. We didn't want this attention. We did it because it needed to be done. It needed to be said, and we figured there could be some good that came from it.
Yeah.
And we, farming your next career, we both have careers.
Yeah.
We both work full time.
Yep.
This is a fun project we do on the side.
Starting your own companies. Just
Yep.
kidding.
Rez. at res_2020. You guys are no any better. Why does everyone?
These guys.
There's a common theme I'm seeing here with the grammar.
It's like they're typing so fast that they accidentally mess up.
You guys are no any better than your old boss. All of you are a bunch of scammers stealing people's hard-earned money. No thanks. I have no time to listen to scammers putting shiz on each other.
Putting shit on me?
Yeah,
Okay, and then Daz underneath says, should also be said that it's hard to believe these people wouldn't be privy to the fraudulent activity happening. If they are mentioning this now, they knew back then. Once again, timelines.
Yeah,
timelines.
The first half of that comment is pretty valid. You know, hindsight's 2020. You know, and Sam has mentioned this too. You know, hey, there's clear evidence of fraud. Okay, why did it take him 2 years to get arrested? You know,
right. 2 years to get arrested, had to go through that whole process of investigation to then get arrested. It's like, yeah, I understand. Like, once again, you can call me naive and incompetent, but we were there to do our jobs.
Yeah, and he says, would be careful if I were them. They might come under review as well. I welcome it. Someone on TikTok asked, hey, have you guys been asked to be a witness in court or whatever? I said, sure, I'm an open book. You know, once again, I don't have a whole lot that's going to help.
Yeah, but the thing is, if they bring us into court, what are we going to say? Once again, I'm going to keep saying this. Timelines. I have no idea what John did. The only time I interacted with John outside of that business timeline or being with SafeMoon timeline was me talking to him when he was at Tano, before he even talked about Thomas, before Thomas met the guys there. Me saying, what's up, dude? I see you started a business. That's what I said. He didn't respond to me until after he got to SafeMoon and started SafeMoon. Hey, dude, I just started this business called SafeMoon, blah, blah. That's all I said.
Yeah.
That's the only interaction I had. After that, kind of lost contact until he moved the business to Utah. Was like, hey, come on as a sales director. So it's like we have no idea or no inclination of how all that occurred. So how can we give any testimony?
I've been reading court documents as they come out.
Yeah.
Like a book.
Yeah.
And every time I'm like, wow, this is great. You know, it's all news to me.
Yeah.
So I'm an open book. You know, I'm a fan of the legal process and doing what's right. I don't think I have a whole lot to help. Maybe there is some tidbit of information that comes out that helps. That'd be awesome.
Probably like the purchases he had.
Yeah.
Like, we've been to his house.
Yep.
Yeah, we've driven in his car. Yes, we have driven in his Jeep. But that to me, like, I didn't know his salary.
Yeah,
sure, he was a CEO of a once $8 billion company. Like, my thought from a business standpoint is he's a CEO. Sure, he has millions in the bank. I get it, right?
Yeah.
Now, in terms of having that be LP money, all that stuff, no idea. I thought it was just coming from SafeMoon, the business, right?
And he had told me on a separate occasion, we were actually talking about his car. He told me he made that from his other investing money.
Yeah.
And I had a whole conversation with him because, you know, I'm an avid crypto trader.
Yeah.
We had a whole conversation about Cosmos, about Atom, when he bought it, what he sold it at. And
then he bought that car with Bitcoin.
Yeah. And so I'm like, oh, you know, this guy, he was early in crypto. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Come to find out, he was new to crypto to an extent and just was getting in on the ones that were hot. But, right. Let's go on to the next one.
Rudy Moon. Rudy Moon.
I like Rudy. The thing is, I want to preface, Rudy is one of the ones that I really enjoyed who hosted spaces. She was a good advocate for SafeMoon. Now, obviously, there wasn't clear understanding of the time, like the timelines and understanding of what the inside was going on the inside. But she was always a beacon of, hey, SafeMoon's trying to get somewhere.
Yep.
And never was really negative. But yeah.
All this proves to me is that you didn't give a shit about the community and you had zero morals or ethics. If you did, you would have come out long ago. You were complicit.
Yeah.
So we've pretty much addressed most of this. Yeah. But you've also talked to Rudy, right, since this tweet.
Yeah, I talked to her and just had an understanding, like, hey, I kept explaining the timeline. Said, hey, this is when I was hired. This is the business. Like, things happen there. This isn't talking shit on John. John's still well, we'll see. John's my friend right now, but this was never a John is the worst. John did all this stuff. John. No, I think John was in a position where he was put as CEO, had people around him that were in his ear, and from the things that they were saying, he kind of acted on those. And we talked about this with Wormtongue and the gig situation and him being in his ear, and even that day that he basically kicked me out of the leadership group.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that day where they went to the back of Sketch's office and just sat there and talked to each other the whole time?
Yeah.
For literally almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
2 hours. And then after that, came back and said, sorry, Hayden, you're gone. So it's like, Rudy, like, you're awesome. Thanks for everything you did at SafeMoon or with SafeMoon in the community and really building it up, because I know this isn't, like I said earlier, this isn't just a financial burden on a lot of people, but emotional. There are a lot of people that came into the community to just have a sense of belonging and meaning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can't really knock that, because I really appreciated the conversations I had meeting in person over in Park City with these guys,
Mm-hmm.
and just having conversations over messages, right? But yeah, complicit. I think we need to just kind of squash that.
Yeah.
Timeline. And morals and ethics. I feel like the moral side of things, Jonas and I are doing this to more or less, that kind of speaks to the morals.
Mm-hmm.
If it was somebody else with not good morals, would they be doing this? Would they be talking about this? No, they'd probably just sail off in the sunset and everyone would be suffering while they're like, all right,
Leave
time
the
to find my
country.
new job.
Yeah. Which.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
It speaks volumes how a lot of people we worked with are dead silent.
so silent. Like,
yeah.
some people that didn't even want to be put out in front of the community,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Like, even during the time that SafeMoon was active and alive, they didn't want to be in front of anyone. They didn't want people to know their name, face. Like, there was even arguments of, hey, we're building this new website. We need to have our leadership team on there.
Mm-hmm.
And some people said no.
Which makes me wonder, because there's a few of them in particular. I think you know who I'm thinking
Yeah,
of.
I know.
What did they know that we didn't? You know, if they
Right.
were so scared.
Because they were always doing, like, backdoor meetings with John and, like,
maybe they knew that he was taking LP money the whole time. I don't
maybe.
know. But
Well, we even found that person's wallet.
oh yeah,
Remember?
I forgot about that. Yeah.
So when we say insider trading, we were more or less specifically talking about one person, but we found another person's
one.
wallet and we mentioned it.
Yeah, I'm going to share the story real quick. We should dive into it later, but this person, so he was an executive at SafeMoon.
Yeah.
One of the undoxed, unnamed people.
We don't need to say his position, so we don't.
Yeah. And there was an issue with the swap.
Yeah.
And we had one of the Slack chats it was like a technical or something. He sends a screenshot. This is one of my prouder like reflex moments.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're going to get to Felix later. Felix says I'm not an athlete. Wait till you hear this. He sends a screenshot of like a transaction failing. It was like a screenshot of his wallet. Yeah. And I could see in like the top, the balance of a different coin in his wallet.
Yeah.
So I go Shift Alt for whatever the hotkey is for screenshot. I screenshot it. I kid you not, 3 seconds later, it's deleted because I'm sure he realized.
Oh, he did.
Shoot.
Yeah, it was so quick.
And so I'm like, yes, I got this guy. And so it didn't take me very long to do a search. I find
BSC
which wallet
scanned.
has this amount of this token. And so, but here's the thing. We don't know it was his. Maybe someone sent him the screenshot.
Sure.
It's one of those, we don't have proof, but it's probably his.
Well, the fact that he deleted it so quickly gives you the inclination that it was his.
It's either, it's probably his or a close friend.
Yeah.
If it were just a community member, I don't think he would have deleted it.
No, I don't.
So that was another, it's a little.
And when we dove in,
worrisome.
we found tokens that were on our swap that were before the launch. And that's when we were like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to hide that, right? And I went to John and a couple other people and was like, well, specifically the person I went to was the person that got fired for it. And so I'm sure he didn't do anything about it because he knew.
Yeah.
All right. Next one is from Felix, our boy.
We've saved the best for last.
Flix 57289625335. So we can already tell right now that he is a troller. He said,
Good
we
guy.
got a fake athlete and me and a fatso and Jonas.
Yeah, why are you calling Hayden a fake athlete?
Yeah, what the hell? Talking, my goodness, if you looked up losers in the dictionary, you'd see a pic of these two jabronis. And the fact that he used the word jabronis makes me so happy. Like, that's a good use of the word, Felix. So, Felix, hey, I don't even think we need to cover anything you said because, yes, I'm a fake athlete and Jonas is a fatso. But he has been going off on Jonas for the last
This guy does not like
5 months. He hates Jonas.
And he
failed athlete.
Every single tweet mentions how I'm a failed athlete.
Failed athlete because Jonas could not go through American Ninja Warrior and win.
Hey, just wait till this next season comes out.
Plug.
Hey, it airs. I don't even know when it airs, but I do a lot better than in previous seasons.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I remember him coming back that first time from American Ninja Warrior the first time, and it was just so funny to be like, you suck.
Which is funny, too, because when it first came out,
yeah,
remember we said, hey, we have a SafeMoon employee who's going on American Ninja Warrior. People freaked out. They're like, oh, that's the coolest thing. Like, get a SafeMoon tattoo. And then, I did all right. And they're like, way to represent SafeMoon.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I leave, now it's like, you did terrible on the show.
You suck.
You're not a good athlete.
All you are is what is it? Super Smash Bros. Second place winner.
You don't think I've heard it? Like, my wife has a silver medal from the Olympics. Like,
right.
Nothing that I can do is ever going to,
No.
So I understand. I'm
No.
not like a professional athlete or even have any accomplishments. So it's.
No, you're an athlete. Like, let's not get it twisted. But at the same time, thanks, Felix, for your continuing support of failed athletes and fatsos. So, sorry. But yeah, those are some of the questions that came in from Twitter. Not even questions, straight up statements and implications.
Concerns.
And concerns.
So light way of putting it.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, this is a main reason, and this is what I was talking about with one of the people that commented last night on our post. It's just like Jonas is a lot more bold in going out there and just saying whatever the hell he wants to say. Me, I'm more of a reservist. I sit back. I'll definitely send tweets and comments to Jonas and other people and be like, look at this jabroni, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, like, this is a big reason why, like, I tried to stay out and stay out of that limelight, because as much as the SafeMoon community can uplift and bring joy and bring happiness to a bunch of individuals and just bring friendship and camaraderie, they also can just tear you to pieces.
Oh, yeah.
For the slightest thing, for dipping your foot in the water at Ninja Warrior, and they tear you apart and say you're the worst athlete. And then, when reality, if you put yourself next to Felix, I bet you could just absolutely dominate him in anything. Basketball, baseball, football, right? Soccer. But it's so crazy to really see the two sides of the coin and how people really use that platform, right? It can be for uplifting or just destroying, toxicity. But for some reason, I still love the community. Still love talking to these people. I saw Addict on there trying to defend us, which is great. Like, thank you, Addict. We really appreciate that, and having met you in person, know your character and you know ours. So I'm sure that's a big reason why.
Yeah.
Steph, I think your name's Steph, right?
Mm-hmm.
Steph as well. And just those people that were able to actually meet us in person and really say, and really have that conversation and see that we were just as much of an aficionado in SafeMoon and trying to build it up as they were in the community sense. So I think that's kind of where I'm sitting now. It's just like, there will always be some type of issue, hate. But at the end of the day, we're telling these stories in the timeline that we experienced. No one else did. No, there are other employees experienced it, maybe not to the extent, but everyone that's talking on Twitter, whether it's Sam from Evergrow, whether it's Randolph, Shildoff, Rocky, all these people, right? They didn't experience what we had to, right? And we're being completely honest and upfront. And if we were complicit, this would not be a podcast.
Yeah.
Why would we do that?
I feel like that should be obvious. But
that should be completely obvious. If we were complicit and we were like, 100%, like, you should see how much LP I got. Yeah, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why would we put ourselves on camera in this amazing studio to talk about us being
And this
Criminals.
is a whole other story, but we got gypped by SafeMoon. Like their wages owed to us that were never paid or withheld, or
Yes.
so we got screwed.
You lost thousands and thousands of dollars.
Oh yeah, from money that was owed to me.
And same with me. Like, hey, that credit card that I was spending $700 a pop on when people came to see, like, there's interest on that. Did SafeMoon ever pay that interest? No.
Yeah. So I hope people see that we just want to tell the truth. We want to tell these stories. I think people deserve to know. I think they're interesting. I think a lot of them are hilarious.
Yeah.
And if it offends you, you don't have to listen, But
You don't have
rest
to
of you-
listen. But just keep an open mind and understand that we all went through it.
Yeah.
And this is just, think of this as a journal of chaos.
Yeah. It's a good way of putting it.
Chaos and potential. Timeline.
Yeah. So keep commenting, everybody. We're going to answer your comments, questions, concerns. We have a lot of really cool episodes coming out. We're going to try and release one a week.
Yeah.
And yeah, stay safe out there. We'll
Thanks,
catch you on the next one.
Yep.
See ya.